Hey, what up, guys? Dr. Vic here, and you're listening to the Mindful Chiropractor podcast. Excited to have you here as we're going to dive deep into some concepts that I've been in discussions with clients and prospects and just seeing, when it comes to the selling side of chiropractic, and a lot of times I remember when I was first getting into the whole profession and starting my business, and I was like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm just sharing the truth and sharing the power of chiropractic, and that's what I do. And then later on, I realized you are selling, because selling is not a bad thing. You kind of think of it, to me, I always thought like selling was like a car salesman, right? Whatever we can do to get the person in, right? And then they have buyer's remorse later on. But really, it's understanding. There's principles I'm going to share with you today, but it's selling in the sense of that you're sharing. It's informational. You're just sharing information, and it's okay to inform. But when you just share stuff, it's kind of like you're just saving them time by looking it up on Google. But if you can inform and then inspire with that, that's when you get the sale. That's when you get the person to commit. That's when they're going to open up and start to trust a little bit more. Then they're willing to see, because you inspired them. You gave them hope. You gave them a different, you showed them what's possible, right? That's why some people call chiropractors hope dealers and things like that. The reason why that's a phrase is because we're looking at potentially showing them what's the potential, right? It's not a guarantee. And you can't guarantee anything. There's two things in life you can't guarantee: finances and health. You never know how things are going to go. And health is the same concept. And so when you're looking at these things, you want to understand that you're always constantly selling, but remember, you're informing. You're planting seeds all the time. All right. So what I want to share with you today is how to enhance this process. And a lot of times people say you got to be, some people say you got to be transparent, right? Be fully open to the person. That's going to give clarity, and then it gives confidence and so forth. I kind of disagree a little bit with that. My teachings and my understanding and what I come from is from universal laws. I come from spiritual truth, nature, natural laws. I come from neurology and things like that nature. So that's where my science is. And then I also applied it in my own career and with my clients. And I've seen massive shifts. This is why I did a podcast on this before. You have to understand, what is chiropractic to you? What does it mean to you? Not what D.D. Palmer, B.J. Palmer says, or Barge or Stevenson. Doesn't matter what they say. What does it mean to you? What have you experienced and seen in your own life and studied, read the science and built up your confidence with science to say, okay, great, this is what chiropractic means to me. Okay, great. Now, once you have that definition, that's going to create clarity, right? And then when you have that clarity, now all of a sudden you can express and inform chiropractic in a very beautiful way. It's not going to be blabbering all over the place. It's going to be very specific, and specific to what chiropractic means to you. Me, when I explain chiropractic to my patients, it's neurology. That's what I get into, because that's what, to me, and what I've studied and what I know, that's what we do. If there's one thing that chiropractors can all agree on, is we work on changing the brain. That's what we do. We improve communication to the brain. And so when that's the principles of what I teach on, that is it. If a patient comes in and says, oh, well, what about this or that, or I have a shoulder issue, or I have this. Hey, guess what? This is what I know, right? I'm being clear with them, right? Because I'm transparent. You can say it's transparency, but I'm just being crystal clear. Here's chiropractic in a nutshell. Here's how I'm going to express chiropractic to you. And that's all I'm doing. And when here's the thing that I'm very adamant on, and I teach this with my clients like crazy, especially chiropractors, is you have to be crystal clear on what this means to you. Because now when you come from expressing chiropractic and educating about chiropractic, whether that be a retention system, whether it be just an educational system, whether it be different stories in your newsletter or your weekly blog or monthly blog or biweekly blog or a video you put on social media, these things are always going to be in alignment to your message. And when you're in alignment, you have congruency. And when you have congruency, you increase your energy now, right? To be hyper-focused, all in alignment. And that's going to make the shift, because that's palpable. People are going to feel that. Your patients are going to feel this. And when they do, most of the time they're going to sign up. I mean, you could still mess things up, but the truth is they're going to feel like, wow, I'm at the right place. Wow, they're really listening to me. Wow, this is really great. Look how they explain this or that. There's going to be many different things that come up. And then all of a sudden, if you do that right, your closing rate goes up. Closing rates go up. Then all of a sudden, practice goes up. profits and sales go up. And then if you can be good on the retention side, this is where education systems and retention systems come into place, then all of a sudden your retention stays high. And now you don't have to work as hard to build a business or maintain it. It's simple as that. This is not rocket science. There's so many systems out there. Oh, you got to do this system. You have to practice these scripts. You got to do that. I'm not against that. I have business principles that I've studied from multitudes of different types of coaching groups, management groups, chiropractors and coaches and so forth to create my own systems. And I had to be in congruency with everything. That's what I kind of work through with some of my clients is understanding the congruency. Why is the intake form the way it is? Oh, I just got this off this very successful chiropractor, so I'm just going to use that. That was me often until I made my own. I took all the bits and pieces of what I liked. I put in things that I wanted to have that was important to me, got rid of a lot of stuff that just didn't matter. It's like, what's the point of having that? I just need to have this basic information, have this, I'll take care of the rest. And it worked out great, 98% closing rate. I mean, I did that for over 3.5 years. So when you look at that there's something to that, right? A 98% closing rate. And it's like, so you'd be like, wow, I didn't have a massive amount of new patients coming in all the time. So there's that perspective of it. But at the same token, I still continually grew my practice. I never had a down year ever in my career. And so it's one of the things that these speak volumes. This stuff works, working with clients that I've been working with. I taught these principles to entrepreneurs and it works wonderful for them because then they're speaking their message. They're speaking what it means to them. When you speak what chiropractic means to you, it's a game changer. Patients are going to feel that. They may be unconscious to this, but they're going to know one way or another. They may get an inkling or a feeling, and it'll come later. And they're like, that wasn't right, or there wasn't this, or they were. And when you're in that alignment, in that congruency, it is a game changer because once you have the clarity, then all of a sudden confidence starts to skyrise. And the more you have confidence, the easier it is to close, the easier it is to have more patients coming into the office and committing to what you're recommending for them. And that's another thing too, with clarity, right? And with the clarity side of everything, you got to have that even with your care plans. And if you did everything right here, care plans can be expressed beautifully with crystal clarity. Because that's what I would do is I say, hey, I'm going to see you for 3 times a week for the next 12 weeks, right? Some chiropractors go, oh my God, that's crazy. Some say, wow, that's a lot of visits. Even the patient will say, man, that's a lot of visits. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see you a lot in the beginning. But remember when I talked about this over here, that's the reason why we do that is because of XYZ. It stays all in alignment. This is not a script. I've developed it over time to my own verbiage. And so when I'm working with clients developing these kind of things, I have them develop their words and how they express things and how they say things so that when you are presenting, maybe in the consult or report of finding, you are all in true alignment to things. And when you're selling these kind of things, this is your selling. It's just you being congruent and sharing what chiropractic means to you as you educate the patient, as you get to know more about them. It's pulling and extrapolating information to tie in of your definition of chiropractic and what it means to you and how it's going to help the patient. And this is where you start to make the shift and the change. And they will pick up on that because then it's going to be like, interesting. Wow. Okay, great. That's something. Or sometimes they'll be like, all right, whatever. Like for me, sometimes it'll be like, sounds great, doc. Wow, that's a lot of stuff here to do. I didn't realize that. And I'm like, sometimes a lot of times these little things add up over time. Would you agree? Oh yeah, they do. Well, as we continue to have these little things add up that we're not paying attention to, eventually it leads to a big thing, which is why you're in my office right now. And now we have to go backwards and unravel all those little things by doing good little things that add into your nervous system. Go back to the nervous system because that's what I always talk about, and tie into that of how this repetition, this process is important to help the patient transition through the care. It's as simple as that. So understand that you are always selling. And if you're not selling, take a look at where your numbers are. It's going to show that you're not selling. And I'm not saying you have to be selling all the time like a salesman. I'm just saying you have to you think of selling as information, but it's information that inspires. And if you can inspire, now all of a sudden you've shifted the game to where they're going to be interested in what you have to say. This is when you inspire them or you start getting them thinking, patients are going to start asking you questions. And that's when you know they're involved. That's when you know they're interested. That's when they're like really paying attention. That's why when I present information like this, if you're listening to this and so forth, definitely let me know what you think of this. Put it in the comments if you're watching this on one of the social media outlets I put this on. But this is some of the things here. Or share a comment in below of what you think of this. What caught your eye? What resonated with you in this information of what we're sharing? But these are things that we as chiropractors have to grasp and understand if we want to have to shift healthcare and shift the world and do all these other things and make chiropractic the number one priority or the choice in healthcare. It all starts with us. It all starts with you and how you define chiropractic. Unfortunately, we want to universally form chiropractic to be all the same, but unfortunately, that's just not the profession of what we are. You line 100 chiropractors, they're going to express chiropractic different in each of them. I practice in a town that had 21 other chiropractors. I did not agree with any of them. But it doesn't mean that I'm right and they're wrong. That's just their form of chiropractic and how they see it and their education and their understanding and their influence and their philosophy and so forth. I come from a very deep philosophical background, and I'm also very extremely subluxation based, but I'm like that because of the neurology. The neurology doesn't lie. What the neurology is what it is. And so as I started to learn neurology and go deeper into it, that's where all of a sudden it was like, wow, light bulbs just exploding in my head going, man, this is all neurology. It's just conditioning. And I started to tie the dots with other things I've learned with behavioral neurology and other things of how the universal laws work and so forth, and started seeing patterns and going, holy cow, this is all imprinted in many different ways. And that's a whole nother podcast to discuss. But I hope this helps in a way to help you elevate your game, to really inspire, because at the end of the day, we need more chiropractors inspiring patients. We need to have them level up in their life and their business, because that's going to help the masses. And when we do that, and we get the subluxations out of their mind and their mindset, then we can have the big game shift to where we start having chiropractors level up. So that's what I got for you today. Any questions, please let me know. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you subscribe to the podcast, thank you. If you have not yet, subscribe, tune in. If you're watching this on YouTube, I do a ton of other videos on YouTube outside of this. Make sure you subscribe, tick the bell, and make sure you don't miss any of those videos. Appreciate you as always. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling.